I feel super charged up today. I don't know what that's about, but I'm gonna run with it and be excited about it. At some point, you're gonna definitely need your light weights, your heavier weights, right? And we may integrate a little bit of our ball bouncing stuff, but why don't we just start with our rhythmic limbering? Okay. All right, here we go. I like to say it's showtime. Push it up. Even though I don't say that to you guys, in my mind, when I run down the stairs, I'm like, it's showtime, go time, push. Here's the great thing. I'm really happy that I'm finding out now that I've got a hot spot issue, because at least now I can do something about it. We leave next week, and I will be teaching as much. Can you double time arms? Maybe your arms are struggling overhead, but yet you can keep them low and just do this little rhythmic punch in front of you, right? So don't always feel like you have to eliminate a whole section of your body. Maybe it's you have one arm that just says, right, shouldn't use it, right? Here we go, 5 more. So there may come a time where with the schedule that I create, right, every week, push them out to the front, that I might have technical difficulties, and in travel mode, I may not be able to pull off the class, but yet I won't know that till it's actually happening. So just to forewarn you, I'm going to do my very best to coordinate so that when we're on the move, we're supposed to have Wi-Fi on the boat, but as of yet, we don't. Circle. And that's why the phone hotspot is imperative, right? Push, swish, push. Maybe your arms aren't feeling so energetic, right? Here we go. Give me 4 more. And then we're going to go right into our double step touches. 3, 2, double step touch, 1 and 2. You should feel like you're doing the little, hula hula, not hula hoop. What is that Hawaiian dance, right? So there is a song that keeps playing in my mind, and I Googled it this morning, or Spotify searched it. I do not remember the name of the artist, but I saw this thing on Facebook. I tell you, Facebook, you guys think that I probably just spend all day on Facebook, grapevine, but I give myself a few minutes a couple of times a day on Facebook, right? And so it was a son and a mother singing the song Rise Up. They're not the original artist. It's this other woman, but I can't remember her name. So I Googled it this morning. Of course, I was playing it. If you haven't heard the song, just Google Rise Up. A lot of stuff might pull up, but nonetheless, very uplifting. And for days, I've been listening to the song, Single Step Touch. It's a song that I could put on repeat again and again and again and again, because it's just, I don't know, there's something that just makes me want to hear it again. So get ready. You're going to forward walk to me 4 steps. Bring it in. 1, 2, 3, walk back. Forward up. But the Facebook song, right? The mother and son singing it, the voice was just beautiful, and I don't know who they were either. And I stopped. It captivated me. I listened to the whole thing, and then I started the feed again. Get ready. Step touch, step touch, step touch. You got to walk forward with the other leg. Take it up, go now. I just flubbed that up in my thoughts. Push pull. You're pushing forward, pull it back, right? Push, pull. So you all know that I work with people all different ages, right? And one of my clients, she's 87. And when the weather permits, we get outside and do a little walk. But walking to her is really a struggle because her body, the mechanics of how her body moves, bring it back in step touch. How her body moves is not fluid. And because of alignment issues, it really is a struggle, but yet she knows that she needs to keep moving. Okay. And so on this beautiful property, we have a little routine and we go around, the property. And part of our routine is that there is Sandy, you would know, from where the guard gate is up to where the parking garage is on the upper level, there's quite an incline up, nice little walkway. So that's part of her training because it's like the only real leg workout that I can give her, pushback, where she's not loaded beyond what her body weight is. And we're going to go back into our forward and back walks. But when she gets tired, I have to redirect her energy, kick back. So as she's making her walk up the ramp, okay, step touch side to side, we do different things. Give me 4 step touches or 4 little touch walks to the side. Ready? Touch 1, touch 2, touch 3, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Part of our training has me holding her hand, right? Doing these little sidewalks and getting her to pivot around, right? So are you ready? When you get over here, quarter turn, doesn't matter which way you quarter turn, you're just doing 4, go all the way. Think about doing an entire square, quarter turn, 4, 3, you're not facing the screen anymore, right? 4, 3, 2, quarter turn, 4, 3, 2, again. When you get over here, square yourself back up, go 4, 3, 2, take it last time, 4, 3, and march your feet. Now, that whole story is this. Pick one of your legs, walk forward for 4 steps. Go now, take it. 1, 2, 3, and 4, back it up, right? So as she's doing the hardest part of the ramp, I actually have her walking some of it up in a backwards motion and some of it on a forward drive. And I told her on her forward drive, because she's holding my hands, I said, push. I had her push me up the ramp. I'm walking backwards, she's walking forward. We get to the top, switch your feet, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Maybe you missed that little transition, right? And you're 1 step behind. I just didn't even stop and give us an extra beat. We get to the top, and she said, it was so much easier with me pushing you, marching feet, as if that was going to be something revealing to me. I knew that if I gave her this charge motion, that we could redirect her energy, right? Give her the other muscles a job to do and unload some of the weight and her mechanics, high knees. So I want you to think about, as we get older, right? We can get our mind set into feeling a little deflated about maybe remembering a time where things seemed easier for you mechanically. But if you just continue to think outside of the box about what exercise, fitness, overall well-being is, your options are endless, really. Pull it back, pull it back. Now, when I travel, she and I do virtual sessions, right? because she needs to stay on task with some of these things. So although she won't, joining into class with us would be a little bit too much for her. But nonetheless, I want you to feel inspired. 87-year-old training 2 to 3 times a week, right? I mean, that's fantastic. 5, pull, 4, inhale, exhale, 3, 2, last one, shake it out. Okay, you should feel like your body's warmed up a little bit. Let's jog it. So, can you tip, like dot and I jog back, dot and I jog back, right? How many little footsteps do you need in the middle here to get you into a smooth transition? Maybe you don't need any and you can bounce in, bounce in. If you bounce in, right? So even without the bounce, you can still do an alternating step if you can get your mind to have you move your parts that fast. So now, if you can't and you need transition steps, then you're going to give yourself about 3. 3 is this number that allows you to have a smooth transition without feeling like you're fighting yourself, right? So now, come back with me to march, dot the I, 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, dot the I, 2, 3, dot the I, transition, cross body, 1, 2, 3, cross, right? For us to have just fluidity where we can take 4 to 6 feet, create our foot pattern so that we're traveling, right? The steps don't have to be on point where you come back to the same spot every time. Let your body kind of move through this space pattern. It's almost like you're doing a grapevine, but yet you're not. You have a forward push and a retraction, forward push. So even if you're out of your not counting, but you're trying to just mirror me and mimic, cross the leg, step back, marching, step in. Those knees are giving, hips are giving, ankles, toes, like it's all working for you. 4 more. 3 more, right? In step class, we used to do this thing called around the world, right? And center, get into your light dumbbells. So your dumbbells become the option. It might not be the best for you, but what I'd like for you to try to do is roll your shoulders down and back, slide the elbows in, and then start your external rotation. And then walking into your space, set a foot, try to get that foot pointed straight ahead, right? Start loading it. Can you take your front foot? So I'm intentionally doing like a double time tap compared to how fast my arms are moving. You're being able to compartmentalize your upper and lower extremity, right? Or your different limbs having different tempos to work at is really a brain teaser. So we are offering another stimulus, right? So if your foot is essentially tapping with mine, it's tap, 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 and the arms are going half as fast as your leg is going. That's what I mean about an off tempo. Hold the arms open. Now, pull the leg up, pull, pull it faster. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold the up right there. Flick, flick, flick. Are you still balanced? Flick, flick faster. You're barely able to pull it back under you because you're trying to move so fast, but yet you are. This is all balance work. Walk it out, relax the arms. Whew. We do not have to have the same exercises done precisely the same way every time. If you learn nothing else from me except that, have an open mind. You're not doing things wrong unless your body indicates that there is a painful component to it. Load yourself up, roll the shoulders back. Start with your slow time arms. If your hands are working up here, you might not even realize that they are until you look at them and go, oh, right, I'm actually on a W line instead of straight out. Okay, ready? So get the leg out. If your leg wants to tap slow, that's okay. But if you can keep it low and actually straight and see what happens, squeeze your bun, pull your belly in. Maybe it feels better for you just to hold your arms open. You don't have to keep moving them. Maybe you have to stop your arm movement altogether, but this is external rotation. We're working on the rotator cuff in the shoulder, right? So get ready. Hold the arms open. Pick the leg up. If you can go faster, it's just as quickly as you feel the toe hit the floor, try to make it spring back up. And now, get ready. Hold the leg up. Start the slow kick. The leg doesn't have to be high, but I want you to try to just flick, flick, flick. The faster you move that leg, the more your body is going to have to go, oh my gosh, it's a lot to control. Faster. 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. There is a term, and it's called ballistic. So when we do something that is like just super fast intensity, though we were in single leg stance, it wasn't low impact because we weren't moving both feet. That's called ballistic. It's really high repetition movement, and it sends like a sensory overload to your system. Set your weights down, grab a quick little drink. I might be the only one needing water. Do you have a ball handy? Maybe you don't. If you don't, you're really missing out. So imagine you're in your clock, okay? If you don't start with the same leg as I do, it doesn't matter. But I want you to go from your 3 and 9 o'clock position, right? So your receiving leg, impact, absorb, right? Impact, absorb. And if you can put your ball drop catch, right? Step, maybe your knees just do not want to flex. And so if that's the case, then you're going to be really stiff-legged and you're still going to try to do your ball drop catch. This is your lateral lunge, right? And so often, one of the reminders I give when I'm face to face with someone about this movement is if you're not really paying attention to your body, then the leg that's supposed to be straight will often be just shy of straight. And there's a weak link when that happens. Okay, so stiffen up that leg, squeeze your buns, because that's what's going to help you stay with that stiff leg. Now, take it over to this side. Without moving the foot, just do some repeat pushes, right? Maybe you can synchronize, right? So you've got alternating hand going, and then we're going to hold the down and go faster ball drop catch. Squeeze the bun, 5, 4. You'll know a lot about this knee over here if it's collapsing and sliding towards the floor. Push it open, 5, 4, 3, 2, with a smooth transition, drive yourself up, switch sides, load it. How far do you need your leg to be apart, right? Really stiff leg, absorb the down, push, push. So your tempo for your push is based on the speed that you can control your drop catch, right? And then hold the leg down, squeeze the buns. Oh my goodness, you guys. I went to play pickleball last night because there's a group, this is 5 more, for buns nice and tight. 3, in class yesterday, I told you that I was feeling really good. Yesterday morning, I reported that my body felt great. I didn't have any pain kicking off anywhere. And as the day progressed, I still felt that way. However, there was so many things needing attention, but long around 4 o'clock, I realized I was slightly sitting there going, it's 4 o'clock. I'm twiddling my thumbs. I'm going to go play pickleball. That was my thought. So I drove myself down to Indian Rocks Beach. There must have been 8 people playing, 8 to 10 people waiting. And, but I thought, well, I'm here. So I stuck my paddle in the row, and I got to play with someone that I've played with before. It was all women. Give me a little bounce and shake the leg. You do as little bounce as you feel like your body wants to, or as much, right? So you could be doing your hula hoop right now. We are going to add that in. Maybe your jump rope, maybe your imaginary jump rope, right? Where you're just moving your arms. So because there were so many people, right? I get on with this woman, and we just had a really fun game, and we won. But because there were so many people, 4 on, 4 off. Doesn't matter if you're a winner, right? So the next game, where you're supposed to separate, but no one knows, like no one's keeping track of who's playing with who. So we go back on and we look at each other because we know we're supposed to separate, relax. But we could tell that these other 2 girls had come on, that they wanted to play together. So she and I played together again, and we won, which we're both extremely surprised that we're winning. So not that it's not bragging rights or anything, but we were just surprised, right? So nonetheless, where one lacked a certain thing, the other one had it, and that was our exchange. We made a nice pair until we went into our 3rd game. And there is a woman that I've never played with as a partner. Go to your heavier dumbbells. But I have seen her play, and I think I've played against her once in all the time that I've played. And she's a player she's a really good player, a very strong, like I think she has a tennis background, because when she hits that ball, like actually it made me think that she played softball, just based on when she hits the ball, it's like all power, and she's essentially drilling the ball back at you. It's an intimidation factor. And I get the biggest kick out of watching her play other people, because that's just how she plays. Like, I'm sure talking to her, she's very nice, but that is not the impression that she gives off on the court. You're just doing alternating hammer curls. If you want to change your hand position, then this is called hammer curl, palms in. You can do supinated, right? Traditional palm up curl. What I don't want you to do is start palm up and then let it rotate to palm in. Okay, so there is this thing called a hammer curl, or I should say a rotation curl. I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent, but Your main objective is to make sure that when you bend your arm, your elbow isn't sliding behind you, nor when you bend your arm is your elbow driving in front of you. Lock those arms directly down, elbow under the shoulder joint, and then you pick your hand position and try to maintain either palm up or palm in, but don't let them rotate. Because most people will rotate at the wrong spot in the curl. So I'd rather have you do a really clean line, right? So the last game, her name is Tippy, my partner, but you're not really supposed to have a partner, okay? Anyway, we end up on the court together again, and we look at each other and we're like, well, we've come this far together. We might as well play this game. Anyway, but we knew we were going to get our butt handed to us, right? Release and relax. Back to fast feet. Fast feet or hula hoop. Okay, Sandy. So Sandy, I have not done any of the adjustments. For those of you that may have missed last week's show and tell, Sandy has loaned me this hula hoop that has a couple of different sections that literally snap in together so I can make it bigger or smaller. And in Sandy's infinite wisdom, she picked the size that probably is the best for me. Anyway, it's really light and it has this tape along the inside of it that the suggestion is that you wear a cotton fabric so that the tape can actually help keep the hoop from sliding. Nonetheless, spandex is what I have to offer. And so I have to work a little bit harder at keeping it where it's supposed to be. So if you're in marching feet, jogging feet, walking around your place, imaginary hula hoop, right? I don't think I can actually bring my legs together and still keep it going. So, anywho, she hit the ball so hard, like it hit me once. And you know, I'm really competitive. It doesn't bother me that she plays that way. What bothers me is the fact that nobody else plays that way. And I'm of the opinion that I call it knowing your audience. Okay. So she has the ability, she's a fantastic player. She would be a fantastic player even without that element of like this aggressive play. No one else on the court plays that way. And so she nails everybody all night long. I just find it release, relax. I find it odd that no one will. I'm not in a position to ever walk up. I never show up at that time. And the 2 times that I have shown up in the last like 9 months, she's there. So she probably is somebody that plays there often, but I'm just really surprised that none of the people have ever said to her, or even just she's totally oblivious to the energy that her playing style creates. And though she wins, it's the win for her that's so important that drives her to play that way. And I just thought, this is a person that I would love to have. She's someone that I absolutely know that I could learn some technique from, but I would need back to back to back games in order to be able to figure out her play, little kicks. And sadly, when you lose, right, in a big group, whether you win or lose, you're off the court. But I got off the court. My partner and I had a good laugh about it because we didn't even get a point. It goes to 9, and we didn't get a point. I thought that really sucks. But yet we had two other games that were super fun. Maybe you're not doing this. Maybe this is a really hard movement for you to do. What's required of your body, all right, to actually get lift off? What muscles allow you to have spring, release, relax. A seemingly very innocent, small, not noteworthy muscle. Your calf is an explosive driver. It's not even necessarily your knees, because stiff-limbed, right? Can you guys just bounce? When you bounce, are you barely getting off the floor? Bounce, squeeze your buns, propel yourself up. How out of balance and control do you feel, right? Buns in. I'm maintaining this profile line so that you can see that I'm not breaking. I'm trying to be as like streamlined as I can. Buns tight. So now, if you want, soften your knees. Immediately, you should feel like the rest of your body wants to come along for it, right? And now, tip, 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 right? 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Anyway, that was pickleball. I was so happy I went, and then I was like, okay, I'm out of here. I wanted to play another game, but I didn't want to wait 15 minutes to play another game, so I left. Grab your light weights again. Some of you may need your chair. I don't know. Even though mine's here, I'll show you or I should say, I'll demonstrate how your chair could be of some assistance to you. When we go into our single leg stance for our hamstring work, even with your weights in your hand, and we've done this before, okay? So I'm going to give you options. How far away from your support base do you need to be? Okay, it's all based on as you take your giant step and you get your front leg to load, can you tilt and tip yourself forward in balance? And if you can't, then your chair is right there to help you. Try not to let your head descend right below the hip line. We're trying to level out the body. And then at some point, you're going to push yourself back to your start position. The foot needs to travel back, next leg, giant step in, transition. The transition is the most crucial part that will allow you, see, me turning my head just threw me into a spatial disorientation, okay? So that transition phase of you getting from your traveling position into the front leg loaded is that nanosecond of pause, squeeze your parts, and then start the next phase of the movement. So if you have good command of your body and you don't need to use your chair, then you're just going to let the arms hang straight down from the shoulder line, right? Pull up, step back, forward in, other leg, pause. I want to add in another muscle, and that's going to be our rear delt. So if you will all take the same, the same arm to your forward stepping leg as your little assist, and then hinge your body down into tabletop spine, right? Your free sweeping arm is going to do this T line sweep. Now, the leg that's suspended, it has to maintain its job. So push that leg out there nice and strong. Imagine that someone's got you at the ankle and they're pulling on that leg, playing tug of war with you, right? Here we go. Big squeeze. 4. How heavily reliant are you on the chair, right? I'm pretty reliant. I just turned my head and I realized I needed help. Now, as the arm comes down, center yourself, drive yourself back. Leg number 2, stride in. Maybe You're like, but I don't need the chair at all, which is entirely doable. You get into your hang, stretch that extended leg back, and move that arm, knowing that the chair is right there. You can always resort to it, okay? If you really want more challenge, then you would pull both arms at the same time. Exhale on the up, big power on the leg. It's nice and long and tight. As you hold your weights, really grip the weight so that you feel your entire hand squeezing against the stem. This is your last one. Pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. Now bring the arms down, power yourself up and back, release your weight. If you weren't not able to do the shoulder action, don't worry about that. Just you stepping into balance mode. If you brought your chair right into your equation, we've been adding in this movement, directional, changing our direction. So every side of the chair has you coming around it. You're doing this little dance, right? And now I'm going to pause and I'm going to back it up and I'm going to redirect the other direction. In the past, I've had you identify, are you right rotating? Right. And now that I've done 2 rounds, here we go. I'm going to go forward and I'm going to go left rotation, left again. If I'm confusing you between right and left rotation and now you're uncertain which way you're rotating, don't worry about it. Back it up. This is your last time, right? Just try to turn the opposite direction from where you came. Nice and easy. Spatial awareness. Don't clip your object. Release and relax. Squats. If you're like, oh no, I can't do squats, I don't want to do squats, then don't. Sit in your chair and do some abs, right? If squats are challenging for you because it gives you knee pain, hip discomfort, whatever, maybe you have a mental block with it and it's just a movement that you don't like, then build your base up a little bit to take the effort out of it so that you can reframe the movement into something that your body doesn't protest. I'm going to go single leg stance. The other foot's the assist. Just like when we sit on the ball and I have you get your trunk really rigid and your down foot in that push motion, push into that dominant leg. You can run your own series of testing your ability. When you stand up, can you lift your support foot? Do you then need to set it back down as you sit down? When you stand up, can you keep it off the floor and not be all squirrely, right? Because if you get all squirrely and that's how you're sitting down, you don't have control over your movement. But being able to do single leg, stand and sit is strength and skill and control. Now, what happens is when something like this no longer challenges you, 2 options: hold on to more weight, right? Or lower your sit base. So this is what I love about, now on this next sit down, stop for a moment. Maybe leg 1 has an entirely different level of function than leg 2, right? So we're going to try not to let the knees float out. Everything is tracking within this frame. Load the heel, extend the trunk, stand up, squeeze, commit to the butt cheek. You don't ever have to go to a point where you feel like you're not successful. Point in case, maybe you just continue to use both feet evenly. Okay. I would never think about giving my client here single leg squats. No way, no how. It's totally an unacceptable movement for what her joint strength is, right? So now you're deciding, and that doesn't mean that everybody's in that category. That just means that under my evaluation, the risk is so great that I'm not even going to suggest that she try to do something like that. But only if I had eyes on you, right, I would know a lot about what your scaling back needed to be or your advancement level based on a couple of factors, right? I'm intentionally throwing some of that wiggle in because there might be some of the movement where you're like, okay, I'm fighting it. And then you stick the landing. If you're in wiggle mode and you're fighting it, but then you pull yourself up and it all comes into quiet, controlled stage, then you're meant to be there. Right? Give me a couple more. Pull it up. Squeeze the bun. My arms play a factor in it. Pull it up. That's it. Release, relax. Move your chair. Okay. Jump rope, hula hoop, jogging around. Heart rate's going to stay up. We're going to once we do this last little trick, right? We'll get into our triceps. Triceps are going to be into kickbacks. We could do overhead triceps. Okay. So I am absolutely going to take the hula on the boat. I cannot wait. I just feel like this is such a great little workout. Like if you had 3 minutes and you were trying to shift your energy, right? Grab a toy, right? I actually I've got football, I've got volleyball, and of course these big balls. But if you ever felt yourself like in a down energy and you knew that you needed to like lift yourself up a little bit because you had something that you had to focus on, do something that shifts your energy and something that isn't aggressive. This is so non-aggressive reverse, right? If you're just doing the hula hoop minus the hula hoop, then your legs are together. I just don't think I can successfully do it. It's just I lack the skill to close my gap with this very, very light hula. But if you can put yourself into a playful state for a couple of minutes, it will rejuvenate your energy level. That then maybe it was some conversation that you had to have with somebody, right? That was weighing on you, and release. I don't know. I don't know what you guys are experiencing, right? But um, I think about what puts us into an open frame of mind, a productive mental capacity, and when we oxygenate our system, it makes things seem less intense, right? So sometimes you can diffuse your own thoughts about something just by distracting yourself in a playful way, and then everything feels better. I always consider the workouts as as an attitude adjustment, and that's kind of I say that in a funny way, but I really believe that exercise is that. And for people who don't move their bodies, it makes it really easy for us to identify what's missing from somebody's life if you know that you're dealing with somebody who is generally like a flat, they're flat, they're in a generally a bad state of energy. It's because they don't get out in the sun, they don't have outlets that lift them up, and you can't create that for somebody else, but you can identify that maybe that's what makes things in their life super challenging. Perhaps I've told you this before. It would be helpful to have one of your heavy weights, one of your light weights. Now, Marlene, if you're still in class, you are not going to be on your hands and knees. You will continue to use your chair, right? Or your coffee table or your sofa edge, and you're going to be doing or for anybody else who doesn't want to be kneeling, use your support base, get into tabletop and do kickbacks. If you want to come down to a slightly harder move, it's going to be harder because we're going to add in this moving leg. The moving leg is the opposite leg, to your working arm. And you're just trying to get both of those things on the same plane. And what I mean by that is if your leg was down there and your arm was high, they're not on the same plane, but they can be if you're attentive. Inhale, exhale. Do you need to flex your foot? Not necessarily, right? But if you're going to flex it, keep it flexed, right? And now, more importantly, the hand that's on the floor, try to squeeze that shoulder, right? Pull the shoulder blades back. They're actually depressed and retracted. Inhale, exhale, push. Squeeze the bun. Inhale, exhale, push. Power, power, power. Release. Now, switch sides. That should have been about 10. Here we go. Hold the elbow up. Push. Push your support arm. If it's too much load for your wrist, make a fist. Turn the palm in. Either way, both shoulders are tugged down away from your ear, right? Like you're trying to squeeze your, we'll call it your lat mass, not back fat, right? Inhale, exhale, pinch the derriere. Let's do one more for good measure. In and out, release, relax. So as you make your way down, bring your heavier weight closer to you, okay? Maybe you need a pillow, right? If you know that it's really challenging for you to keep your head at the right position, then just slide that little towel or pillow behind you. As you sit for a moment, does it feel good to go into crossed ankled sit and a little bit of C curve? Sometimes when we come out of like tabletop spine, because that's S curve, when you float your spine into the C curve, it just feels like it's a nice little relief. Even though this is a position we don't really want to encourage our body to stay in, to be able to have the control to be in one position or the other based on you dictating that. Sometimes it can be a nice little stretch across the low back. So guiding yourself down, right? It's very helpful to use both hands to pick up your heavy weight. Press it up. Take a few seconds, right? Maybe you're kind of wiggling your backside in, raise the hips, feet off the floor. All right, belly to spine. Your legs do not have to be straight, but what I do want you to try to focus on is not letting the knee stray out of vertical line to the hip. That's important. And once you feel those legs draw into vertical line, navel to spine, you have your dominant hand holding the weight. Well, it doesn't matter if it's your right or left hand, just one arm, right? And you're doing stiff arm, protraction, and retraction. Now, you may not see that I have my free hand holding the kneecap. You don't have to. It can be wherever you want to go, but that makes me feel like I've got a really good line. And once I go into straight legs, okay, so that's if you're in bent leg, gives you a little extra support. But in a straight leg pattern, I actually want more work. So I'm going to stretch that arm over my head, reach it towards the floor. It's not going to touch the floor, but it's in a nice long reach, belly to spine. 3 more on the arm. 3, that should be a solid 12 reps. 2, now. Bring your parts in, bring the weight down, make that smooth transition, take it back up. You decide, do you want your legs bent? Do you need your feet on the floor? Can your legs be straight and your other arm stretching back and towards the floor? Ready? Shoulders out of the ears, drive it up, glide the shoulder blade back. If your middle body is so strong that you can change the angle of your legs to be in a forward extension and a nice long reach, you will feel your muscles work so much harder, right? And your degree of leg angle is all relative to what your back is doing. So maybe if your legs are bent, you start by straightening them. And then if they're straight, you let them out just a little bit for you to feel like your abs are working. But at the moment that you have any thought that, oh, my back, you know you've gone beyond what your body is actually able to control and you need to reset. Give me 2 more arms. And now, tuck everything in. Take your weight back over to arm number 1, feet down, feet touching, side edges of the feet touching, squeeze the knees, go into your pelvic tilt, take the arm up. Okay, you ready? You are going to extend the opposite leg to the weighted arm. The knees are touching each other, and that helps to set the level. So squeeze the knees in, take your free hand, put it all of your fingers together, including your thumb. Don't let them separate, and then put them right at that wrist hinge. And now you're doing overhead tricep. So your goal is to try to keep the shoulder blades pulling down. Inhale as you come down. Exhale on the up. Squeeze the knees. The foot that's on the floor, push that foot firmly into the ground and you'll feel your leg muscle do something. And that's called stabilization. You're helping your parts out. Give me 2 more. Exhale up. Release the leg, pull the arms down, switch it over. All right, arm number 2 has got the weight. Sides, edges of the feet are touching. Squeeze the knees together. Do a little adjusting of your neck so that you feel like you're not staring back at the ceiling behind you. Pelvic tilt. Without letting the knees separate, extend leg number 2. Get your shoulder out of your ear. Assist with the hand for the weight. Hinge. You're essentially drawing your dumbbell down towards your ear. Exhale up. Now, if you're really, say you're only using 3 or 5 pounds, you might not need your assist hand. You might be able to keep your elbow vertical and move the arm without feeling like the arm is coming out of this nice clean track. You can always put the hand back in assist mode, right? But if you don't need it, then don't use it. Inhale down, exhale push, take the weight, push down, bear down into the foot that's on the floor, like you're trying to lift your hips. Give me 2 more. Inhale, belly to spine, buns tight. Give me last one. Press through it. Both hands guide the weight down. Pick up your head. Set your weight off to the side, knees to chest, bear hug. The head is still up. guide yourself into your tightest squeeze. Can you get your hands to squeeze across the elbows? And now that your arms are locked into the legs, pull your neck back to the floor by actively drawing your chin to your chest. Lower the neck. Ah, that should feel like it's not a challenge to touch the head to the floor. The challenge is, can you keep your chin kind of tucked to your chest while you bring the neck down? Because that's a whole different lowering phase. And relax. Roll yourself to the side, push up. Where are we? Okay. 90-90 sit. I hope you guys don't get tired of the 90-90 sit, because it's one of those stretches that I feel most bodies need to be doing with some frequency. So I love the mat, right? The mat really helps you kind of identify with the edge and what line you're actually creating, right? Able to create. If it's really hard for you to sit up without bracing, there are some things where I refer to them as game changers, right? So your little wedge under that hip, it's like, oh, without fighting it, like, wow, that's what that's supposed to feel like. It doesn't mean that it's going to feel natural. It just means that you don't need your arm to be doing the work that your structure is naturally supposed to get into. So what if you needed to keep your back leg extended? I would still want you to try, like, if it can't be in a super 90 bend, then when you come to extend it, like, take a second. And this might be where you end up, is to really extend it. Keep the inside edge of your foot connected to the floor, because we're trying to do that internal rotation. And then you just help yourself forward. So that's only if you can't bend the back leg. Okay. So trunk is lifted, right? You still have your push arm. That arm is helping you track in line, lengthen, like someone standing up slightly off side, and they've got hold of your wrist and they're just pulling you just a little bit. So now as you come out of it, twist yourself towards your back leg. Your hand, can they get hold of that leg and just help you anchor that rotation a little bit? If you've got your leg, right, how much of C curve has your body gone into? Okay, start aligning, only holding a few seconds. Release, swivel the legs. Ah. Maybe it's been on your register that, we don't do, this is not a type of class that, you know, I give you guys hundreds of repetitions of crunches or, sit-ups or leg raises, or, we absolutely do hit our core muscles, but not with the intensity that most classes have. Right? Get your little wedge under you, figure out how much support do you need. And that's kind of by design. I know that we need these super strong parts. We need our trunk and our back muscles to be really intact. But I condition you all in different ways so that we're not just isolating this little crunch and you feel a little segment of your muscle like on fire. Throughout your entire workout, you're getting core stabilization work. It doesn't always have to be that you're getting crunches or plank holds, although those are a great measure of overall, a higher level of being able to hold things for time under tension. I think that the balance work we do is more significant to how many crunches can you knock out in a minute, right? So raise the arm up, give that good push, because sometimes at the end of the class, I'm like, oh, did you feel your parts burn anywhere, right? And and certainly some classes render that more intense than the other. But I hope today's workout, you felt your biceps work a little bit, you felt your triceps get active, but everything else should have just felt really good. Pull that arm up. Someone's standing just slightly off, right? They're giving you a little assistance, helping you reach into it a little bit more. Don't reach into it at the risk of you floating into C curve. Maintain your S. This should be like a very weird stretch through the underside of this front leg, which may be radiating back along the hip line too. Okay, so now as you've come out of it, your body kind of relaxes, rotate towards the back leg, wherever you can get your hands to anchor, and then reset your up, shoulders down. There's just a little like tug of war happening with your parts right here. And release, relax. So how are you going to get up today? You're going to do downward dog. I know for me, I'm just going to keep practicing this internal and external hip rotation. If you've started to do this with me, but you find you have a stick point trying to get that initial lift, just use your arms, right? Float yourself, test the water, because you can always sit back down. But at some point, right? You're like, okay, I'm good, I'm good. Squeeze the buns, squeeze the buns, squeeze the buns. And as soon as you activate your buns, you should feel like you're getting a stretch. And then maybe that's all you want to commit to. And then you put the hands back down and you unfold the legs from each other. I want to show you options, and the options, it's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be fluid, right? You have to train your parts. All right, lift and breathe. Release, relax. Job well done. Okay, you guys, as always, big thanks to you.